Silhouetta, please leave. It isn't safe for you here. King Torch II urged his wife to listen. On that day that I lost everything, did I leave your side? She gazed deeply into his eyes, fearing that if she looked away now, she wouldn't ever get a chance to fall within them again. Torch didn't answer. He was too embarrassed to. This wasn't the first time he couldn't protect her. He stood there, now hand in hand with Silhouetta, her fair and rosy hand within his golden one. King Torch II was strong like the sun, with the hair on his head and beard a shade of brown that resembled dusk. His eyes were somewhere between an amber and an orange, not alarming, just ever so warm and powerful, as though eternally encased in a golden hour. With his other hand he brushed the long waves of Silhouetta's almost opalescent light hair away from her face, revealing the compelling voids that were sealed in her pretty dark eyes. The lovely Lady Silhouetta, at least from all that he was meant to lose. He wasn't about to lose her as well. No, he was wrong to think that. Why must you act this way? He looked more sternly at her. I am duty-bound. And so are you. Think about all those you could save if you just leave. It's not too late to go, I promise you. Please. Even if I do go, you believe I'll so easily be able to heal others, knowing you faced death alone, knowing my torch, whose light and warmth benefited all, breathed his final flame and shone his final ray without his faithful Silhouetta by his side. I can't let that happen. I am your shadow. Try part with me if you dare. Now, you two lovebirds, no need to be so tragic. A man called out, startling the pair. And Torchy really shouldn't be trying to get on Silhouetta's bad side, or chaos will be the least of your problems. I don't think the current situation warrants you to make fun of the king and queen, a woman spoke, approaching the three. But he is right. We were trained for this. Hand-picked even for the two of you. Both were the king and queen's personal guards, respectively. They were a similar age to the king and queen, none quite yet 40. And regardless of their official titles, the four were more like friends, family even. The man was easygoing and confident, with fire-red hair and dark tanned skin. The woman with short, dark turquoise hair and light tanned skin was more tactical and knowledgeable, but for the sake of her friends, wore a lying smile. It was okay. They all had somehow unanimously agreed that. They all wore the same deceptive smile for the sake of the next, waiting for something they hoped wouldn't happen. Chaos and his soldiers were now making their way around the castle, and straight to them. The halls echoed only with their footsteps. It was so quiet, peaceful even. Often they would pass an imposing window, and Oliver would internally wince a little at the mere sight of the castle grounds. A group of soldiers were ordered to protect him as they ventured to the castle. He hadn't had a chance to take it all in. It was dark out, but he could still make things out by the light of the faint flames of battle. There were too many people lying cold on the grass. A bit too much blood. They'd survive this, right? Once father has claimed the Corvantian throne for himself, it'll be over, he thought as he continued to walk. He won't let them die. He turned his eyes away from the windows, refusing to look through them any more. He felt his face begin to flush, perhaps out of shame. How could he think such a thing? How could he even entertain the measly possibility? They were alive, that was that. He bit the interior of his cheek to help him focus again. Why is there no resistance? He had managed to distract himself with a genuine question. Most of those who could resist were dead. The handful that remained were near the king and queen's side. The castle staff weren't armed and weren't a threat, and they knew better than to face the soldiers. So there was no destruction, no excess death, and no blowing things up. Except for one thing. They stopped just before a grand door and a plaque that read "Library." See to it that everyone within is let out, then burn it down. And so, as Chaos had said, the library was set alight. An odd choice, but I do understand. I mean, if I was going to take over and live in a castle, then I too would set the library on fire. Oliver didn't understand. No, he was baffled. Why the library? He felt so disconnected, and even more out of place than when he was by the gates. If only he could read the minds of his peers, they would have known what the heck was going on. They were probably briefed about this mission in ways he could only dream of. This was all because he was too weak, feeble in terms of power. He was so close to excellency that this defect of his made him unbearable, intolerable for Chaos. They halted once more. At the end of the corridor, there were guards stationed at the doors that led to the Coravantian throne. Chaos raised his hand, and a select few ran forward to engage with the guards. The guards fought diligently, but they were no match for the ensemble of shadows. Chaos continued moving forward, and the rest of the army did the same. By the time they had reached the doors, the royal guards had broken formation and were struggling to keep their grounds. Amongst the bright, energetic attacks and counter-attacks, the Sordatian leader and his army swung open the doors and seeped into the room. Oliver felt the push of people behind him and tried to resist falling onto the people ahead as they slowly poured into the room. There was no point in looking ahead. All he could see was his peers. His attention grew towards the floor. Something was making him slip ever so slightly. The entrance was lined with the red carpet. It shouldn't have felt slippery. It was becoming increasingly apparent to him that the carpet he stood on was drenched in something wet, too heavy to be water. He looked at the footwear of the others as they made their way inside. They were laced with red. It wasn't blood. It couldn't be. There was too much of it for it to have been blood. He frantically looked around, trying to locate the source of the pooling substance, as he was pushed into the throne room by the crowd. He couldn't. It wasn't blood. He was mistaken. The people in front of him had dispersed back into their ranks. He resumed his place, the first row and slightly right of Chaos. The room was massive and immaculate. The colours of the Coravantian flag, dusty gold, peachy pink, and a refreshing teal blue, were used to decorate the room. Sophisticated and intricate pillars stood periodically, demanding their presence to be known, and at the centre, against the wall opposite, was a grand stage where the two thrones resided. They were both cushioned in red velvet and framed in lighter gold, elaborately crafted and bejewelled in gems relating to the three Coravantian colours. In front of them stood the king, queen, their personal guards, and a couple of royal guards. Chaos, the good king addressed, placing a protective hand before his wife. Chaos stopped in the centre of the room, as his soldiers enveloped him and the Coravantians, just in case, although it was clear the couple had no intentions to escape. Torch, it's been a fairly long while, has it not? He smirked. I don't think I've seen you since the wedding day. My apologies. Don't apologize, not to me. You've killed a great deal of my people. For what, my throne? The jewels your family has been hunting for generations. They aren't here. Of course they're not. Chaos gestured. The laughter that followed faded, enshrouded by a look of agony. There was something wrong. The king observed him, alert and ready. Dad! He was a fool. He shouldn't have cried out like that. He let his emotions get the better of him. He was supposed to be the Shadow's knight. How immature. He clenched his jaw. He was a fool. I'm fine, son. His father managed to mask whatever he was going through. In a second it was over. No sign of the pain. The king wasn't looking at Chaos anymore, but had been distracted by the whisper. Son, he repeated in disbelief. Since when did Chaos have the heart to raise a child? Since when was Chaos a father? The boy was probably about 15 or so? That's right, you haven't met my beautiful boy yet, he said, proceeding towards Oliver. He swung an arm around the boy's neck, draping his hand off the boy's shoulder. A sudden wave, a throbbing pulse overtook his mind once more. He gritted his teeth and bore a twisted smile. This is Oliver, the new heir to the Coravantian throne. His Mirith was intoxicated. Well, after me, that is. No! Lady Silhouette shouted, frantically moving her husband's protective arm away from her. Dispose of them! Chaos shouted over her. The shadows pounced like hungry wolves. Oliver felt the draped hand prompt him to turn around alongside Chaos himself. They were now both heading towards the only exit. Whilst turning, he caught a glimpse of the two bodyguards standing tall to protect the couple. He didn't know if they were going to survive. His father's hand was still on his shoulder as they strolled out of the throne room, watching the shadows in the rear ranks race towards the king and queen. Chaos must have been in a good mood. Even the smile on his face grew more genuine. Then again, he did have a reason to celebrate. Chaos caught Oliver's gaze, to which Oliver lowered his eyes towards the ground, and Chaos smiled even further. The boy saw red scuff marks on the marble floor. It wasn't blood. He tried to look somewhere else. Just then, the hand resting on his shoulder covered his eyes. They didn't stop walking, nor did the lack of sight disorientate Oliver. He trusted Chaos. Oliver, his father spoke softly, as the distance had muffled the violent roars and Coravantian cries. However, he could still hear them, the Coravantian cries. He could make out someone saying no, repeating it. No, 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 no. They'd be okay. Yes? He felt them turn towards the right as they reached the end of the corridor. I have a surprise for you, he sang ever so slightly. Chaos lowered his hand, now gently holding the boy's shoulders with both hands as they wondered. A mission? Really? The boy's eyes lit up like a child being promised a pony. Something so seemingly impossible had just become a possibility. A chance, an opportunity. He could redeem himself. He could do anything. He'd do anything. Except kill. But Chaos wouldn't order him to do something so sinister. Why did that thought even cross his mind? Yes, Chaos said as they entered the dark room on their right. Two shadows were already there. You see, the Coravantian jewels that power Coravantia's defense were sent to Earth as a last resort. They were in the portal room. It was grand, a bit smaller than the throne room, but still quite grand. Ahead was a wall made of glass that let the moonlight in. The ceiling was glass as well. A glittered sky was above. The external source of light added a certain mystical characteristic to the room. The 3 other walls were shelved, top to bottom brimming with ornately complex things that Oliver wouldn't understand. Couldn't understand. The golden line looping most of the floor confused him the most. In fact, now that he had noticed it, the glass part of the ceiling also followed this shape. A strip of red carpet led from the door across the room to 2 steps, then a decorated stage. On the stage was a hollow golden oval, like the frame of an ostentatious mirror, except it was massive, a bit taller than the standard door frame, and 1.5 doors wide at its widest. I know most of what I'm saying will lead to many questions, all that I shall answer in due time. But for now, I need us to go to the other dimension and find those gems. Oliver's knowledge of Caravantia was weak at best, let alone his knowledge of another world. So please, just trust me. Oliver stopped and nodded. Of course he trusted him. Good, Chaos smiled, patting him on the head and walking in front, addressing the other 2 Saudations. Time to ignite the portal. With that, one of the shadows powered the golden oval gate. Chaos had mentioned the portals to Oliver before, but he had yet to learn how they were opened. Chaos took the black gem, sealed in a swirl of dark silver and threaded by a loop of rope, off his neck and stepped onto the stage. Within the golden oval, he drew an arch in the air with his gem, saying that word, ignite. And suddenly there was a portal trapped within the oval. Iridescent swirling light swam freely and danced quickly between the coating golden oval. Despite the constant motion, the entrapped portal was as smooth as a still body of water to the touch. Oliver smiled, struck with wonder, but not too much. He was the Shadow's knight. It was Oliver's first time seeing a portal. For as bright as the portal looked, it didn't exert that much light. He was expecting his father's figure, still in front, to cast a clean, crisp shadow. But the shadow cast by the portal's light was fuzzy and faint. It wasn't a harsh light, it was soft. A soft light that would often get caught on air particles nearby, making them glitter. It was so magical. It was bringing something different to the already mystical room. Something warm, something hopeful, some fuzzy and faint feeling in his chest. An opportunity. Chaos turned around, smiling, already having predicted what Oliver's reaction would be like. Oliver was trying his best to hide it, but his bright, widened eyes and slight smile gave it away. But Chaos wouldn't discipline the boy today. After all, he was trying. Plus, even he was in a happy mood himself. Well, go for it. Chaos playfully signaled towards the stage. I'll be right behind you, as soon as I've sorted out something here. Try take it all in, once you've reached there. I'll test you later. Oliver nodded, making his way to the portal. He was now in front of it, the opportunity. All he needed to do was step through. I'll see you on the other side, my son. Chaos waved him off, and Oliver nodded once more. He lightly tapped the portal. The surface rippled, and he stepped through. Yay, we're done recording. Whoa, this took so long. This is such a long episode, and there's like so many that are going to be like this length or whatever. But now, outro time. Welcome to the outro. I need to dip because I drank too much water. Check out the drawings right now that are coming up on screen. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk anymore. I think I've done my voice in. I am going to try and rest it and heal it. I'm going to totally change the quality of my voice at this point, like recording these back to back, which RIP me. But anyways, hopefully this has been fun for you. Here are some bloopers to come, but yeah, live laugh LUARAH. Oh, to listen. Whoops, maybe I should have read it in it. Whoopsie daisy. So that's the throne room. Oh wait, sorry love, sorry. Okay, so that one's episode 3, isn't it, love? So then, wouldn't that mean that this one's episode 4, isn't it? And the episode 4 would have the throne room, wouldn't it? Yeah, I bet so, right? Right. Okay, so that says throne room. Whatever. Anyways, throne room. Let me just count something first. Gosh, stop leaning on the trackpad, maybe. That would help. I took 1 hour, 40 minutes or whatever to record like 2.5 pages. Oh well. So that was 2.5 pages. Okay. And this next part is going to be a bit long. So, you know, buckle your seatbelts and all that, I guess. Can you hear my cat in the background? Is that another cat? Excuse you. It's my neighborhood. Okay, you can sit there if you don't make noise. Okay. My turf has been invaded. What are you doing? You want to leave? You want to see the outside world? Okay, fair enough. Okay. She's entertained by the window. Whoopsie daisy, sorry for hitting you, Mike. The compelling voice, not the complete voice. Okay, I've forgotten what her voice was like. I'm so tired, man. The woman with dark... No, that says short. The next word says dark. Chaos and his soldiers. Soldiers. Chaos and his soldiers. Soldiers. And so, as chaos was said... Okay, that is actually the right way to spell satellite. Who knew? Man, I have so much to read. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do this. Let me out, man. It was becoming increasingly apparent. Okay, right. He resumed his place. I hope my tea has cooled down relatively. I don't think it is. Although it was clear the couple had no intentions of escaping. Ooh, merit, that's a big word. I don't even really know what it means anymore. It means laughter. I have a problem with saying "sir" and "sha." Oh, I nearly spilled tea. Well, honey water. I am nearly done now, I think. I say nearly done, but it's like, I got a long ways to go. 3 walls were on the shelf. I'm so tired. Can I go sleep? Can I go home now? Are we done? Can I finish recording now, please? The coating gold over. I'm nearly done. I'm really nearly done. He lightly tapped the portal. The surface rippled. And he stepped through.